There was a wonderful moment in last night's Seder where 160 of us were gathered together to celebrate Pesach, to go through the rituals, to explore the rituals, the meaning, the depth of the Exodus narrative. There was a really interesting moment when we started to tell the story, because I shared, as I was asking people to share what's happening, and they said the Pharaoh is commenting on the Israelites. And I said, yes, the Pharaoh is saying there's too many immigrants in our land. And there was a loud ooh, like I had said something controversial. And I said, it's not me, that's the essence of the start of the Torah's narrative of the Exodus. Pharaoh is upset of too many foreign people being in his land. But it really got me thinking, and I started talking to some people. Why was there such an interesting reaction? And the answer that I was given is because I was dealing with politics, or bringing politics into the Seder. But I wasn't at all. And I find this really interesting and I think really important. I wasn't bringing anything political, or at least party political, into the Seder. But the Seder, Pesach itself, is inherently political. If politics is the way that society is run, then Pesach absolutely is a political festival about freedom, about liberation for all, about freedom from oppression. That's politics. It doesn't have to be party politics. It doesn't have to be a comment on any particular modern day society. But it does have a political message, which is we are free, and therefore we now need to help others become free. And that for me is really important, because I would say that I used to think it was just a British thing, but I think it's a sort of modern liberal thing, that we don't talk about religion and politics at the dinner table. It's just not done. It's not proper. I used to think it's not British, but it seems like this timidity of Reform Judaism, which we're exploring more and more, means we don't discuss such things. But the problem with that is that other people do. People who are extreme in their religion will very often bring politics into it, or bring their religion into politics. We as liberals need to be able to work out the difference between political and party political. Because actually everything that we do is political. When we interact with other people in society, that's politics. That's changing the way society works. When we feed the hungry, that's a political act. It's not a party political act, but it is a political act which says our society is not taking care of those who are hungry, therefore we are going to do so. Another way of dealing with that in a political way would be then to go to the city or the state or the country to try to change the laws. But that's still not party political, it's only political. And so when you have a festival about freedom, a festival about liberation, a festival about how one leader turned to a group of people in their nation and othered them and oppressed them, that is political. And if we're not mentioning that in our Seder, I think we're missing an important part of the Seder narrative. Now, the challenge for us as Reformed Jews is that our religion can't only be political. There has to be that sense of spirituality, of ritual, of connecting to the divine as well. Because if our Judaism is only politics, then it's not really Judaism. It's just a political action. So for us, when we come together during the Seder, we're bringing out a political narrative. And what's fascinating is that God is mentioned repeatedly in the Haggadah, Moses is not. And so the reason that that's important is because it's not actually about Moses. It's not about the people. It's a religious narrative of freedom. So God and politics can belong together, should belong together, especially in Pesach. And that leads us towards Shavuot. In 7 weeks' time, the festival where we celebrate receiving Torah, because we can only do so when we are free. And so we celebrate our freedom not like contemporary postmodernists saying, I'm free to do whatever I want. That's not Jewish thinking. Freedom in Judaism is freedom to help others, freedom to serve, freedom to make sure that others are free. And that is inherently political. So I think it's important this Pesach for us to really realize the difference between political Judaism and party political Judaism. Party political Judaism is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for us to use our religion to tell others how to vote. But it is appropriate for us to use our religion to say, here's how we believe the world should be better. So this Pesach, as we celebrate our freedom, I encourage you to think about how might you, individually, and how might we as a community help others to become truly free as well. And not be afraid of that because people use the P word, politics. Because actually, God is political. Belief in God is political. Because it means believing in a better world for all. I hope that you'll be able to join us for our Kabbalat Shabbat service this evening. And then tomorrow morning, our Torah study looks at freedom and what is the cost of freedom, because especially in Judaism, there is a cost to freedom. And also our Shabbat Shacharit service as well. I hope to see you then, and I wish you Chag Sameach, Moadim Lesimcha. I hope that you have a joyous intermediate day or days of the festival of Pesach, and hope to see you soon. Shabbat Shalom.